Well, I've decided to name this In His Shadow. Thought we better come up with a name for it. We're going to give you a small taste of what the Bible studies would be like. All of the explanations that I'm going to give you for the Hebrew words come out of the Gesenius lexicon. I'm going to start with Ruth chapter 3, verse 9. And he said, "Who art thou?" And she answered, "I am Ruth, thy handmaiden. Spread therefore thy skirt over thine handmaid, for thou art a near kinsman." So pretty much I think everybody knows this story. This is where Ruth said to her mother-in-law, "I will go where you go, your God will be my God, and your people will be my people." And so she's gone back to Israel with Naomi. And she's met this man, Boaz, and in the middle of the night he wakes up and finds her at his feet. And it kind of startles him. And so he asks her, "Well, who are you?" And she says, "Well, I'm Ruth, your handmaid." And the handmaid is Ama Techa, which is a handmaid, a female slave, used even by a free woman when speaking to her superiors. See, she was a free woman. She wasn't actually a slave. That's followed by Ufa Rasta, which is spread. That's to break in pieces, to give bread. If you get the picture here, you got the idea of you take a loaf of bread, you've got a bunch of people here, and you break it, you tear it up, and you pass it out so that you can spread it out so everybody can have some. So this is the idea of spreading out. It's also from the idea of taking a blanket and spreading it out across the floor and that type of thing. It's what you would think of, but it's also to spread, in this case, a garment. Because the next thing she says is chenafecha, which is, well, in the Gesenius it says a wing, so called from its covering. Poetically, they are used, the wings of the wind, the wings of the morning, on account of the speed of the moving on of the winds of the morning and the wind. But it's used metaphorically of care, protection. It's an edge, an extremity. So I want to show you what this is. This is called a talit. Some of you, I think, are probably familiar with this. The Jews are known to wear these. Other cultures do as well. At the edge of this talit, there's a fringe called a zitzit in Hebrew. And right at the edge here, this is called the kanaf. This is the word that she just used, the kanaf. So they call this the wing, the edge. And if you look at this, if somebody were going to spread their wings, does that look like wings? So we have this idea, that's where the idea for wings comes from. And she's saying, spread your kanaf over me. In other words, picture a woman with her head on my chest, and I wrap my arms around her. I have covered over, I've spread my skirt over her. That's what they mean by that. So basically what I'm saying to you here is that Ruth popped the question. Because some of you caught that. She popped the question because this isn't just the talit that you wear. It's also used for the bed covering, the kanaf, the corner, the wing of the bed itself. And Gesenius himself, when he was translating this, he said, "Spread thy coverlet," this thing here, "over thy handmaiden, i.e., take me to thy couch to be thy wife." That's how Gesenius translated that. The right of redemption and the office of avenging bloodshed belong to the nearest kinsman, or relative, in other words. Boaz said, now, if there's a closer relative, then I'm going to have to let him have first choice, because that's the way the law goes. But if there is one and he's not willing, I'll take you. He said yes right away. So there you have the picture of the spreading of the wing. Now I want to take you over to Ezekiel 6:8. It says in English, "Now when I passed by thee," this is God speaking, "and looked upon thee, behold, thy time was the time of love, and I spread my skirt," are you catching this? "Over thee, and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swear unto thee, and entered into a covenant with thee, saith the Lord God, and thou becamest mine." He said, Kanafi. Kanaf Kanafi, my kanaf. It makes it possessive. My skirt, my talit, my bed covering. That was just to give you a little bit of background, because what we're going to talk about tonight is in Psalm 91:1 and 4. 91:1 says, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." The first word, and we're going to go in the order of the Hebrew, not the order of the English. So sometimes it'll seem a little backwards to you because they put their verbs before their nouns or their nouns before their verbs. There's reasons for that, and so it doesn't follow quite the way English does. But if you'll stay with me to the end, it'll make sense. The first word is yoshev, which he that dwelleth is what they said in the King James. That's to sit down, to be seated. It's to inhabit a place, a throne, a bed, to remain, to abide. To dwell, which is to reside, to stay, to have your home. To inhabit is to live in and to occupy, to reside in. Now that's followed by beseter, which is a hiding, hence something that is secret, concealed, covered. Especially, listen to this, a veil covering a curtain, protection, and defense. Where in the Bible do we see a veil? Think about that for a moment. That's followed by elyon, which is high, higher, the most supreme, the most high. We would give that to God. But zel is shadow, and all they say in the Gesenius is shadow, because that's all you'll really get out of it. It really is a shadow. That's followed by Shaddai. Now I need to talk to you about this word a little bit because there is some controversy about this word and its root. Gesenius says that it's from the root Shaddad. However, Gesenius also says that when Shaddad is conjugated out to Shaddai, it is only used as a verb in the bad sense, which would change the meaning to the violently acting God, or God the oppressor, or God the destroyer. I don't think anyone's going to buy that. I know I don't. Verbrugge, in his De Nomine Hebreorum in 1752, and Edwald's Hebrew Grammar, both believe that the word is from the root shad, which means breast. Conjugating shad out to Shaddai makes the meaning my breast, as in Adonai, my Lord. It makes it possessive. It's the picture of someone at the breast. So it's not someone just giving life, it's someone sustaining life. And they're sustaining that life in a very intimate way.